Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. I'm glad you guys came to tune in one more time. I'm your host, Alex Babbitt, which I know that already. We have an amazing guest, one of my favorites. I say it every time because I mean that shit, yo. This next person is, how can I describe them before you see them? They said a legend in the making, and I believe it's a legend already. She's kind of like a polar opposite from me, but like one of the comics that I have the pleasure of performing with and who pushes me. Like whenever we do a show together, I'm like, this motherfucker's great. So, ladies and gentlemen, get that applause going. Make some goddamn noise for the one and only Erin Maguire. Come on, let's go.
Yes, me.
What's up, Erin?
This motherfucker right here. Did I actually put that on my website?
Yeah.
For a pull quote?
What'd you put?
Just this motherfucker right here.
This motherfucker right.
Like opening right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming.
We are polar
opposites. Completely.
I know, but
Yeah.
I like watching you work because I envy your style because I'm like, I could never be that mellow. I would like to just be chill.
You know what's crazy? I just may look chill to like I've gotten the perception of like, yo, he's just fucking cool. Yeah. I'm not. I am fucking losing it every show.
Isn't it fun?
It's exhausting.
I love it. Yeah.
I love the game, but man, I hate sometimes it's the perception of what you try to give off so people believe it, but it's not always the case.
It takes a lot of work to look like you're not working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I say polar opposites too, I also whenever we do a show together, I always look at the fact that I feel like, to me, I'm from New York, and I believe you are as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so whenever we work, you also seem like you have a grasp on like middle America. I feel like you can just understand. Whenever we do a show, I'm like, I don't know why, but she's just fucking connects with them so hard. For real.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Because I've been to middle America and they're like, what the hell is this? Is this Carrot Top? I was going to be here. Like, it's so funny that you said that.
Yeah.
I think it's because, it takes a long time for you to figure out what your style is as a comedian. It's like, are you observational? Are you, a bit more heady, a little
cerebral,
a writer? Yeah, exactly. And I feel like the things that my brain likes to focus on are the absurd observations. And like Brian Regan, that's an observational comic who I love. And it's so accessible because it's so absurd. Like you're finding that one thing and you're hammering it into the ground.
Yeah.
But it's not anything maybe that would change the lives of people.
It's like it's the funny every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's Aldi supermarket. It's why is everything in here generic and why is it spam and like why are the words weird and yeah, it's finding the mundane and making it so funny and ridiculous and over the top.
And that's like the cool thing to me is because most comedians are finding something funny and just talking about it. You're kind of coming from that vein of what I think Seinfeld comes from as well, which is like he's taking Pop-Tarts, which is innately not funny at all, and then doing 2 hours on Pop-Tarts alone, and you're like, God damn, this is good. This is some good pop. Like I've never looked at Pop-Tarts like this, and I feel like you have that capability, and it's been every time we do a show, I'm like, there's very few comics that get me to like work, and you're one of those comics I'm like, fuck, I gotta really try today. This fucking stinks. The last show we did was Governors.
Yeah. I love that. That's why I always want to be on a show where I'm like, you have to step up to the bar of the people that you're around, and you have to be scared. I like being scared. I think that's why we do what we do. I think a lot of us thrive on that, like, I don't know, there's something missing from my chemical makeup that needs the adrenaline rush. So it's like if you're on a show, don't you feel like
an addict?
I have a deficiency. We're comedians. We're missing something. We're here because not everything went well.
Somebody fucked up. Somebody fucked up. Someone didn't get a hug, got too many.
Too many hugs by the wrong person.
Someone's been touched. Jesus Christ.
That's going to be the next title of my comedy show. That's going to be my album. Someone here was touched. I'm not saying who.
And it's just
Jimmy.
A bunch of audience members like, it could be all of us.
I like to call it that and then invite my whole family and see if like,
He got you too? That's fucking crazy.
yeah.
So tell me,
Comic.
but yeah, no, it does. And on the show, I like to ask people, because I don't always know. We could be friends for a while and joke, but you know, a lot of people's origin stories, I don't always know. So could you tell me, I love using that because I'm into comic books and shit, so origin stories is like my thing.
Yes, Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel, DC, I'll go deep into it.
Your Captain America.
Yeah. Origin story, what's up?
Origin story, this is funny. In 2nd grade, I told my best friend Michelle Maroney, but who's naming names, that I wanted to be a stand-up comic. And then she said, there's no money in that. And
In 2nd grade?
That bitch was right. In 2nd grade, I was like, what kind of E.F. Hutton friggin' 2nd grader was like, look, that's not fiscally responsible. I'll give you your portfolio, and I don't think that you can swing it. And I did call it in 2nd grade. I said, I'm going to be a stand-up comic. And then, you know, I've always been a nut bar. You know, I did improv and sketch I grew up in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up in Boston doing improv and sketch with professional companies, and I lied my way in. I never told them my age. And so I was with an improv group that thought that I was like 21 and I was 16.
Oh, shit.
And they brought me to bars and I got in and I was like, this is my life. So came from improv and sketch, obsessed with SNL. Always, like when I was in 2nd grade, I used to start my mornings by watching SNL obsessively.
SNL.
Yes, and so I came up with a whole bunch of characters, which is what you see in my stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
But I always want my characters to come out of something honest that I'm saying. I don't want them to come out of left field. I don't want to be like, and now here's an impression of Liza Minnelli. And it's like, it's got to come out of something genuine.
Yeah.
So I have comics. I mean, I have characters throughout my life. And then when I got to high school, I started doing musicals. And then I went to school for musical theater. Ithaca, graduated, have spent most of my career with a foot in each part of the industry. So doing theater professionally all across the globe and in New York and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then also being at UCB and doing sketch. Mm-hmm. And then I went over to the Pit and I did sketch over there, and I've done sketch writing and sketch comedy and improv groups, everything. So it was always these two worlds running at the same time.
So you started in the sketch realm and then transitioned into, so how long were you doing sketch before you got into stand-up?
A long time.
Shit, what are we talking, 48 years?
Yeah, well, I've aged so well. I told you, when you look at my parents.
Since 1965.
When I first started in 1914. Before we had electricity. So I kind of went, it's been about 8 years. So I've done sketch and improv for a long time.
Okay. And then, so when did you start stand-up?
8 years ago.
Oh, that's correct. Okay, got you.
Yeah, so I finally went like, what is the last realm of creativity? Like, where's the thing where I can take all of what I do and sort of mesh them together? Mm-hmm. And yeah, 8 years ago, I started just doing stand-up pure. Yeah. And my first show was at Gotham, and it just kind of took off from there. Yeah. It made me fire on all my cylinders. So, yeah, that's kind of
the origin. I fuck with it.
That's a long origin story.
Nah, but that's solid because
Captain America has a long one too.
So yeah, he was fucking frozen in ice for years.
So was I. God, I look good for 65.
Yo, you look amazing for 65. Don't show the knees, but everything else is.
That's why we're filming from here up and from Ohio.
It's one of those things. A lot of comics has talked about, you know, their starting point, and they always say like, you know, I started this club and that club and that. But what was your introduction to actually like humor? You said SNL, but did you have like a humorous cousin or something? Like a lot of people have that too.
Growing up in Boston, there's something in the water.
There's people
in Boston are weird and funny, and it's a city that breeds strange comedy, and I don't know if it's like
and drunks, British, and also drunks.
Yes, and I'm all of the above. So tick, tick.
This is what I was born to do.
I'm here. Yeah, I just come from a funny family. They don't know they're funny. None of them are performers. They're so far removed.
Irish background, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maguire.
Yeah.
Irish and English. Had a British grandmother. And I grew up watching weird British comedies. Like, it's weird when I think about, like, my parents would be dragged away for some of the shit that they let me watch when I was a kid. It's like, I grew up on Betty Hill and Monty Python.
What is it my grandmother used to watch? As Time Goes By. You ever seen that?
No.
It's like a British comedy on Channel 13.
Yeah,
it was this
weird
character called Mrs. Bouquet, but it was spelled Bucket. And that was the whole joke. The entire show was just, hello, Mrs. Bucket, it's Bouquet. Like,
I want to be there for that pitch meeting.
Yeah, it's just some bullshit.
An entire show based on one wacky name.
Yes, that's it. That was the whole show. But so you grew up in that type of environment where your parents just kind of let you, it seems like they let you just be?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They didn't have a choice. I was going to be me no matter what and no matter where I was. I just think I grew up around funny people. And, you know, like I grew up very blue-collar Boston. Everybody in my family was either like a nurse or a fireman, and real earthy people who weren't like putting on airs and had the heaviest Boston accent, so I don't know what happened to me. They were all like, you know, kid, oh God, it's like growing up in a family of Matt Damons and Wahlbergs. I was like, ugh.
New kids on the block, everybody in your family.
You know, I was like, it's just always, you know, the odd man out. But I just think they're funny people, and I was raised with people like just around me that were entertaining. That
were the characters. Yeah. So you kind of cultivated a lot of that energy and then put it out into the world.
Oh yeah.
It's cool as shit.
Thanks.
It's cool to me because I can see it. Like, you're very animated, even how you talk. You've been through like 4 voices in this interview alone. But I like it because it showcases an old school style of stand-up, to me at least, that is very traditionalist. It's like, hey, I'm putting on a show. Yeah. And I see that, and I think maybe that's the thing that has inspired me when watching you on stage. It's like, oh, this isn't just for me. This isn't for the I'm trying to be successful thing. You're doing a production. You're like trying to give them a moment out. Is that something you consciously do?
No, I just think I always like hearing what people say about each other's stand-up and how they interpret it. I'm always fascinated by it. And I'm like, whenever I try, you know, as you go along in this business and as you develop as a stand-up, I think you try on a lot of different skins, and I think you get inspired by different people, and you're well, I see that this person's really conversational, so I'm going to try to be a little bit more like that today and see if that works for me. You know, you test what your boundaries are. And then there reaches like a weird tipping point where you're like, I need to establish who I am and what my voice is, and I need to not apologize for it anymore. And I've gotten that I remind people of an old school stand-up sometimes where I'm like, okay, it's time to embrace that because I don't think that there's a lot of it happening anymore. And I clearly can't fight what I am. Yeah. As long as what I'm doing is genuine, authentic, and in my estimation, funny.
Yeah, it works.
It's like, I just heard somebody saying, if it's funny to you, then there's something there. Somebody else is going to resonate with whatever it is, you know. And then you find your fan base, your people find you, rather than trying to pander to each individual room. Yeah. Which was a lot of what I was doing for the first few years. You know, it's like how do you survive this room? What's going to resonate with this group of people? And then at a certain point, you're like, I'm going to be the center of the wheel, and let's see
who
if
comes.
I can get people coming this way.
Instead of me, hey guys, you want to be my friend? Hey guys.
This is how I live my life. Like, love me, please love me. Validate.
But they do. Every time I've seen you, I'm like, man, listen, she's leaving with some fans. I know it. Yeah, it's a great thing to see. And now that is a part of like how you present yourself. Now, when it comes to like all the behind the scenes stuff, are you as spontaneous as you may feel, or are you like super studious? Like, what is your writing process within that realm?
It's kind of becoming 50-50.
Okay.
In the beginning, I thought, because I'm such an improv person, that's the world that I come from, I thought, I got this. And then you realize you need a little bit more structure than just, I've got this. And so I'll have an idea for something. It's funny, because different jokes like funnel in at different times in different ways. You know, I have this idea for the Waze joke. I don't know if you saw what this joke was.
Tell me.
A big thing about the fact that I'm obsessed with the Waze app because it's like getting directions from your friend who's in the back seat whose edible just kicked in. Because it's always like, oh God, there's a Dunkin' Donuts 2.5 miles from here, and I can take you there, and you just get to drive through a guy's living room and, you know, oh God, there's cops in 500 feet.
This
oh.
fucking frantic.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that guy's high. And I knew that the idea was there, but I didn't know how to word it. And then there was just a day where I just started talking on stage and it just sort of funneled down the pike. And so that was done live on stage. Like I discovered it in front of people, using people as a gauge for this is funny or not funny.
Mm-hmm.
There's other things that require a little bit more work, where I'll get an idea for something and then I'll have to off stage like break it down. Okay, I want to hear a laugh here. I want to hear a laugh here, and then I get a little bit more technical. So it's kind of a weird hybrid of discovery, depending, I think, on what the joke is.
Oh, it's legitimately that's actually a new one for the show. It's the first person to say, "Oh, I changed the style of the." You kind of look at every joke as an individual baby.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can't raise you this way. I have to raise you this way.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
You're
cool.
Like, you were born in 30 minutes. But I was in labor with you for like 5-6 days, and you tore my vagina.
You've got autism. I gotta use some sound effects with you.
And now I need special help from you.
Gotta make a facial expression. I can't just say shit to this one.
And of course, we all have those jokes that I'm like, I'm going to keep doing this until somebody finds it funny.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you do a joke until you're like, I'm done?
Yo, I don't give up on jokes. I'll just give up on, like for a little while. I just be like, you know what? Maybe I should stop saying this for like 2 days, and I'm gonna come back to you because I know you're good. Fuck what they think.
I believe in you.
Yeah, that's it.
You're my child.
Yeah, I do that. I'm the dad that like knows his kid is dumb, but like I'm just trying to talk him through it. Like, you're gonna fucking be president.
Yeah.
I don't care what your teachers say. That's
You're his
what.
basketball coach.
Yeah. Don't talk to my son that way. That's me. That's me with jokes.
Oh my God, with me, I'm like 3 tries, and I'm like, you can adopt this one.
You're trying to give it up.
Yeah.
Anybody else want this fucking dumb kid?
I'm leaving this on the steps of a church. Your problem now, man.
Yeah, it's but I love jokes, and I love just trying to figure it out. I'll talk something out with my friend. Do you have a group of friends that you kind of do that? You don't do the community thing?
No, a lot of my closest friends are not in this business, which is kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'm very much a solo flyer. If I really need to work something out, there's one comic that I go to work the words of something, because he's so good at finding like the efficiency of the words. Where I'm not. I'm gonna keep on jibber jabbering and I'll land on something. And I'm learning I need to like trim the crap out of the fat.
Take the ands out and the.
So there's one person that I go to that I'm like, this is too thick. How do I just trim this bitch?
I'm very childish. I heard her say that, and I'm fucking childish.
Two C's.
It's never too thick. But I'm also childish, and I'm sorry.
No, I'm still a 5-year-old. I'm surprised I didn't see that coming.
Too thick? All right.
Never too thick, the Erin Maguire.
Never too thick. That's a great thing. It's good to have at least one like cerebral comic that you're just like, yo, you clearly read. I need you.
Like find the ones that aren't like you, that can maybe put something into it that you wouldn't have seen.
Do you feel like in this industry, I don't want to get like super deep with the shit, but it's something I've heard all the time where, women in comedy often say they feel like it's harder, they don't get the right representation. Do you feel like that kind of lands in your space as well?
I think now it's way better.
Okay.
I think there's hopefully a golden age happening for anybody who's considered a minority in comedy. And, women are included in that, because I do feel like we've always traditionally been the odd man out. And I think that there's more light being shown on it. I'm going to be happy to the point where it's not having to be highlighted, so that you look at a lineup and the proof is in the pudding. There's 3 women, there's 3 men, everything's a little bit more equal. I'm hoping that we get more stage time. I just want to be known as funny as opposed to like a funny woman.
You don't want to go on stage, and we had a comic, Nora Yaya, talk about it. She's like, in that same vein, I don't want to come into the stage, the lady. You don't like that?
I know. Oh God, the parentheses.
Yeah.
And I can't believe we're doing this. We're so innovative here. We're really taking a risk for you guys. We've got a lady coming up. Yes, my vagina's out for everybody to see. No, I just feel like I just want to be known as funny. I want to be in that same category as opposed to being like funny woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I did a show once in Jersey. Oh God, don't you love it when people talk to you after shows?
Yeah.
And you're like, what fresh hell is going to come out of this mouth right now? And a guy came up to me and he was so careful with how he parsed his compliment. He was like, I just want you to know, you're my favorite female comedian yet. Like, really, I'm searching for it. And I was like, thanks. He's like, I don't like women. And I was like,
you could have stopped there. Why did you keep
they
going?
do that all the time. You're like, wow, I don't know what we do on stage that makes people feel like I'm going to say the wrong thing to this person.
Yeah, it's when people get a little too comfortable because you're a comedian. They get so comfortable. But you're like, I'm a person too.
Yeah.
This would be weird. You're like, you're my favorite lady bus driver. I swear it. Like,
for an accountant, I don't expect a woman to be able to use numbers. I expected so little of you. But maybe it's like if the bar is set so low for the world, then we're gonna crush the bar.
Yeah, and you know it's not in malice. 90% of the time they are trying, but they might be in a world where it's hard for them to convey shit. Like, because we get the benefit of talking to a diverse group of people. We get to, like, I would never meet you in real life. No. Probably. We'd probably never cross paths.
Maybe at the whorehouse.
Maybe at the whorehouse. And who's the whore? Like, that's the only thing. Or at best bet, you might have been one of my substitute teachers. Like, that's the only.
Oh, wow.
That's the only thing.
Oh, that is such a good pull quote again. The other thing is that I think is interesting is that I'm not afraid to be so animated for the sake of the joke. I don't care what I look like. And a guy came up to me after a show and he was like, you know what's great about you? You don't care how you look. And I knew what he was saying, and it just was so wrong. But I was like, I get what you're saying, that like, I'll do whatever to get the laugh. And I don't think that they expect women to like look goofy. And
it's like a Jim Carrey kind of effect. It's hard, I think, outside of just women, overall for artists, maybe nowadays or in general, to be vulnerable like that.
Yeah.
Because like, and I was talking to another comic about this, and you tell me if that's correct. When it doesn't work, how hard is that to do a full fucking act out?
You want to know the funny part? If it doesn't, I don't really care. I kind of left it all on the field. And I'm like, all right, well, at least I was committed. I went full out, no apologies. You know, at a certain point you get dead inside, which is a lovely place to be.
I have nothing else to lose.
I have nothing to lose. So I go full out. The times I feel like I fail are when I go half-ass. That's what I'm learning. It's like not getting the car up to full speed. And I can feel it. I can feel if I'm not connected to something, then it doesn't fly with them.
Yeah.
But if I'm passionate about what I'm doing, there's a lot of room for forgiveness.
If you're you're just hoping the best.
Yeah.
So you're like, you look at it and say, I'll bomb, but at least I went for it.
Yeah. I sweat on the stage, you know.
Shit.
But
Yeah. That vulnerability
shows me that I can do it.
Have you always been that way?
I think I have. You know, there's different times where you get a little bit more self-conscious, especially as a female in this business, I feel like, because there's so much concern over how you look. But I do feel like we're burning that off. At least, you know, it's like, look in TV, you're not seeing a traditionally gorgeous person all the time. You're seeing a lot more character, a lot of weirder looking women.
Weirder looking people in general.
Exactly. This is the time to be hideous. I have arrived.
If you want to be an ugly star, these are your years, baby.
Salad days. It's going to be good. I can't wait to be disgusting. Yeah. But I think, you know, it's like, look at Orange is the New Black. Look at all the women on that. You know, we're getting a lot more variation in what we see.
A lot of bad bodies on TV for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled about it because it's like there's a lot less pressure to be stunning and a lot more pressure to be authentic, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
God, I hope I'm right. Ooh.
Look, if you're right, that means I'll be right too. So like, I'm hoping you're right as well. Like, I read this shit'll suck if everybody I have on these shows would be like, man, none of them made it. We're all sitting there like, damn, we should have took some other classes. Yeah, that's fire. That's it, because I feel you on that type of energy. It's just conveying authenticity. And I feel like that, regardless of who is your fan, right? Like you said earlier, whoever comes, if they see you and you're being authentic, they'll ride with you forever.
Yeah.
And you'll have like lifelong, and that's all you want. Yeah. Some lifelong people who will come see you when you're fucking 80.
Yeah, just hopefully they can still use Instagram. I need the followers.
Just on Instagram, just like, Erin, she's fucking amazing, yo.
Even with my arthritis fingers.
the thumbs never leave here. Like
emojis are wrong, but it's fine. It's fine.
I fuck with it so hard. If I could, to end these, we always ask one question, and ooh. I would love to hear because you're authentic and you're genuine, so let's see. Oh, this is your camera. This is your main camera right here. Okay. The main question we like to ask is for the audience. If you had to convey something to a younger version of you or a performer who resonates with the energy that you give off, because you're going to give off a vibe, what would be a piece of advice or something that you would share with them? That's your main camera. Go ahead.
Don't give a shit what anyone else thinks. You do you, boo-boo.
You do you, boo-boo. That's fire. That's fire.
True. True.
Yeah.
When you're a weird girl, you just can't care that much. I think those are my words of wisdom.
When you're a weird girl, don't give a fuck.
Oh, and here's the other. Don't drink any more White Claw. What the fuck's wrong with you? So disappointing.
I'm gonna put them shits together, but I'm gonna put the White Claw first. Just don't drink any more White Claw.
Take it from me. Triple sec hurts. Full bottle of it.
Thank you so much, man. I enjoyed this a lot, and I'm glad I got to fucking learn about you. So.
Oh, I'm glad I got to chat with you.
Yes, it means the world to me. We don't. Once again, we'd never be in the same circles. But this environment is fucking perfect for us.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank
for real.
you.
It means the world to me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching the show. Every time it means the fucking world to me. Like, subscribe, that whole thing. Give a round of applause. My name is Alex Babbitt. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
They're applauding at home.
Yeah, right? They are. Hey guys, thank y'all for watching Behind the Mic Stand. If y'all enjoyed it, as I think you did, because you made it to the end, like, subscribe, make sure you hit that notification button so you hear the subscriptions and shit. You know how it works. Just like it. Stop skipping this part and do it right now. What? Somewhere right here. I think it's right here.